You know, I always say that I don't believe shit unless I see it. What up, and welcome to another episode of Brotherhood Without Manners, your favorite full spoiler reread podcast of George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series. I'm Nate. Joining me as always is my brother, Zach.
What up?
Coming in with the wubs. If you've joined us before, we are full spoiler and you know that. If you are new, you know that now because I just said it.
Yep.
And so we talk about the entire series as a whole in its entirety as if you have consumed it all. So be prepared for that.
Be prepared.
Or you can, go and consume that content and come back when you're ready. We'll still be here. So last episode we read Sansa 4.
Sansa
4, which technically that's the release order. We recorded an episode after Sansa and released that episode before Sansa, and I still think that that's relevant and we should comment that
absolutely.
Black Lives Matter still.
Yes, indeed.
And
the
always will.
Protests are still going on, and our thoughts are still out there with everybody protesting for basic human rights for POCs, and of course Black Lives Matter, and I still support that. And so donate and do whatever you can to contribute, and everybody just stay safe, stay healthy, and there's still quarantine, so take care of yourselves. But we covered all of the serious stuff in our last episode, so now hopefully not to distract, because that's the last thing we want to do from the events that are happening.
But to be, something
some stress
else.
And let people unwind from these stressful situations. We will be reading. And last we had read Sansa. Sansa became a woman. Sansa flowered for the first time and freaked the fuck out because she knew what that meant. That meant she was able to become betrothed to Joffrey and bear his children and suffer through that hell. So she immediately tried to hide it, cover it up by burning all the stuff, washing the blood off her, but it was futile.
Yeah, it didn't matter. And so she did get summoned to Cersei.
Yes.
And Cersei laid it out. She was fucking brutal.
You'll never love the king, but you will love his children. And that's basically how it was with Robert and I. And then Sansa went on, and I just completely lost my train of thought. She went on up to the roof to sort of just take a moment, and was watching sort of the ash and the burning.
Well, didn't that all technically happen before she flowered?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that all happened, and then she went that night because she got scared by the hound, went to her room and fell asleep.
Oh, yeah.
And then led to the Cersei stuff, but it's still worth mentioning.
She had an encounter with the hound,
and
really added some depth to that relationship where you and I talked about it pretty extensively. We think she's got him pegged better than most people do, and
absolutely.
That's Sansa's strength.
Even if she doesn't know it necessarily.
No, she sees people. She sees people very clearly, and even though she has these idealisms of what the world should be, she still manages to see people for what they are, and it's especially a man like Sandor Clegane. It's super interesting. But this episode, we're joining Jon again.
Yeah, and so last we left Jon,
which was just a chapter
before Sansa's. He had captured Ygritte after they had killed a couple of the wildlings that were up in the Skirling Pass.
Yeah.
He let her go, though, at the end. Essentially, it was a pretty short chapter.
Right.
We did get a great tale from her about Bale the Bard, a famous song of the wildlings.
Lots of ties to Mance Rayder there.
Mm-hmm.
We got the quick dispatching of 2 wildlings and sort of the efficiency of this badass little band that Qhorin has put together. And
we'll get more of that now.
And that's exactly that. Jon had returned, we're assuming, back to camp after letting Ygritte go, and that is where we pick up Jon 7, where it is now dark in the Skirling Pass. Even though the sun is up, the mountains hid it because they're so big, so they rode in shadow. And at this point, they are well above the tree line, so they are descending high up into the mountains. And the trail was as steep as it was narrow, so that they had to go single file. And when they did so, it was Squire Dallbridge who led them, as he is said to have the keenest eyes in all the watch.
Yo, Squire Dallbridge is a badass, and it'll be cool because we get to see how each of them are a badass in this chapter. But
man, the end of this chapter.
Yeah, it's rough. It's hard.
And so they continued forward, and at a wind-carved arch that marked the highest point of the pass, this is where it broadened out as it descended down to the valley of the Milkwater, and Qhorin decides it's here that they will rest until the shadows begin to grow again. And he says, and I just like the quote, that shadows are friends to men in black.
Yeah, it really made me think of Melisandre
Mm-hmm.
and darkness and shadows being, friends of the light. And he's saying almost I don't want to say the opposite, but darkness is a friend of
Yeah,
shadows.
Qhorin knows some shit, man.
Yeah, and so where did I go here? I thought it was interesting that John just kind of wishes that he could be riding in the sun. He
Yeah.
does want that warmth and to see the valleys
Well,
stretch
it's
out
similar
below
to
him. And,
Ygritte, who said, I'm not afraid to die now that the sun is up.
yeah, and that's where I was going to take it. He's thinking of it that way. I really feel like there's that still subconscious level of things where he's not thinking about it, but then all of a sudden
It's the fear of the dark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it really is.
Yeah.
He's just
The night is
this
dark and
kind
full
of
of terrors,
sucks.
and
Yeah.
so when the sun is up, no bad things can get you. And
So Stone Snake falls asleep
hell yeah,
immediately,
it does.
and John fed Ghost shared some salted beef there, while Dalbridge and Evan fed the horses.
Yeah, Qhorin sat with his back against a rock, honing his long sword, and so John summoned up some courage and approached him and says, basically, you never asked me what happened with the wildling girl with Ygritte. And John continues just saying that Mance.
She said that Mance would take me if I joined her.
Yeah.
Like I could leave right now.
If I ran with her.
And Qhorin was like, yeah, Mance would. Absolutely.
Yeah, and John continued, she told me a story, and he's like, I know well the story of the tale of Bale the Bard, and
Mance used to sing it often after he would return from his rangings.
Right. He had a passion for wildling music and their women, it would seem. And so John asks, did you know him well, my lord? And Qhorin says, well, first, I ain't no lord, so cut with that shit. And second, we all knew him. His voice was sad. And John realizes they were friends. They were friends as well as brothers.
Yeah.
And he says, John asks him if why he deserted. And
yeah, he gives him all the reasons. I like the way he lays it out. Some people say that he just liked women and the wildling women. They were the best there was. But others say that he just could never learn to bend the knee. He couldn't kneel, and so he went where he was not required to.
He loved the wild better than the wall. It was in his blood. He was wildling born, taken when some raiders were put to the sword. When he left the Shadow Tower, he was only going home again. And John asks, was he a good ranger?
And he was the best and worst of them all. He says that the wildlings are all the same as us. They're no different, and like in some decent detail.
I mean, he straight up says only fools like Thor and Smallwood despise the wildlings because they're just like us, John. They're just as clever, just as
intelligent. And they just don't have any discipline.
Right,
is all that he says.
Each thinks himself a king and wiser than a maester, and Mance was no different. He had never learned how to obey, and that's when John is like, "No one know more than me."
Yeah, basically, he's, I let Ygritte go.
Qhorin gets the Dumbledore effect, where John notes that his eyes seem to go right through him, and Qhorin doesn't sound at all surprised, and he says, tell me why you spared her. And John lays it out, that it's basically about Ned, that Ned never used a headsman, and he always said that he owed it to the men that he was putting to death to look them in the eyes and hear their final words, and when he looked into Ygritte's eyes, he didn't see any evil there.
Yeah, she wasn't a bad person. She wasn't out to get them.
She's just trying to survive, same as they are. And so, well, there's wisdom in that, and I think Qhorin immediately is like, bam.
Well, yeah, and he agrees. He's like, if I wanted her dead, I would have said to Eben to do it, or I would have done it myself. And John's like, well, why did you command it of me then? And
Qhorin was like, not command it. I told you what needed to be done.
Do what needed to be done.
And left you to decide.
And he says, when I want a mountain scaled, I call on Stone Snake. Should I need to put an arrow through the eye of some foe across a windy battlefield, I summon Squire Dalbridge. Eben can make any man give up his secrets. To lead men, you must know them, Jon Snow. I know more of you now than I did this morning. Now, I love the whole quote.
Yeah.
I particularly underlined a certain part of it, that it makes me think of clearly Qhorin is a leader in his own right as well, and so we've mentioned, had seen the same stuff that Jor had seen in him.
Yeah.
I think the most important line there was, "To lead men, you must know them."
Yeah,
Jon
yeah,
Snow.
yeah, yeah.
He's teaching Jon Snow everything he. I think it really comes down to, he saw that Jon has the ability to be the leader, on top of all the Stark hoodoo voodoo bullshit that they pull, but was like, this kid needs to range Jor. Like, he needs to experience the North.
The true North.
And so he figures, while he's got him up there ranging, let's teach him a few lessons.
Oh yeah, I think Qhorin is definitely conditioning him.
And this one specifically is where I caught it. Like, it's just so glaring there with this, like, you need to know who that's something I think Jon's going to carry with him for a very long time, and through the entire wildling camp.
The whole point of it, you need to know the men you're leading. Yeah, it absolutely is a theme of Jon's character arc, of knowing the men you're leading and that relationship between them. So Qhorin absolutely is setting Jon up for that. But he also says that they should sleep. They're going to need their strength. So Jon finds a place and just calls Ghosty over to him.
I like it. It's so like, because you talk about it with Beric all the time, and like, while I don't have a dog myself to cuddle up with, he says that he just sleeps better with Ghost. Yeah. Like, he snuggles with him and he buries his face in his fur and the smell.
But Ghost acts very much so like Beric and just looks at him and basically tells him to fuck off, and then bounces. And Jon's like, oh, he probably wants to hunt. And then he thinks, like, shit, I hope the Shadowcats don't get him because they're around.
Funny that he mentions Shadowcats not getting him.
Is it that he wants to hunt that Ghost is going off?
Fuck no.
You don't think so?
I think that he's more aware that there's been an eagle following them.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it's more him kind of just checking things out, seeing what's going on, doing his ghost shit. And I don't know. I feel like he may have at least the ability to see that it's not just an eagle that's following them. Like, he's aware that's another skin changer.
Yeah. I definitely think Ghost is feeling some shit. But as Jon drifts off to Dreamyland, we are going to convene our small council and just let you guys know where you can reach us and get in contact with us and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it should be a pretty short one, so we will catch you on the other side. What up, and welcome to the Small Council. Thank you for joining us here, where we will send you our socials so you can send us your ravens.
You didn't have a fucking choice.
Whoa.
Sorry. Anyway, write us in stuff, because we love to hear from you guys. We like to talk to you guys, correspond with you guys, write you emails back. That's pretty cool. Huh?
That's definitely cool. We definitely respond. We do read all the comments and the questions and things that are sent to us.
We try to find them all.
Well, we try to respond to them all as well. But, we're busy guys, man. So if we don't respond, we're sorry. We mean to. There's just so much.
Indeed.
Anyway.
And so, I think out of respect for all that's going on this week, we are not going to be giving our Patreon, and we'll just ask that
you donate.
You would like to contribute to our Patreon, then instead you find a charity, something to do
organization
with the civil rights movement that we are currently engaged in here in America, and donate to that. Obviously, we appreciate the thought, and we appreciate all our patrons, but
there's so many more better things right now, and we're not saying, don't,
right, absolutely, we appreciate it.
We're just not, if you're that determined, you search it out, you look for it.
Certainly, yeah. And with that said, though, there are plenty of other ways you can reach us by sending us emails, which again we will respond to. We are on Gmail at
withoutmannersbrotherhood@gmail.com.
See, he saves me.
We also have our facebook.com/brotherhood podcast. We're not as active there as we're supposed to be, but well, that wasn't actually meant to be thrown at Zach, but it was, so fuck it, we're rolling with it.
Julian. Isn't that supposed to be Zach's job?
Thank you. Speaking of France, we charted in France's podcast charts this week, which is the first time that's happened. So thank you, Julian, for spreading the word.
Great, Julian, carrying on your shoulders.
You're killing it, man. You're killing it.
Listenership.
So I am also active on Twitter, @MannersWithout. You can find Nate. You can find Zach over there @Carstark92.
Right.
And as we mentioned, just about any social podcast platform you can find us on.
Right.
Acast, Not Acast, Breakers. I think no Spreakers. That's like a premium one. They're a little fucking. There's a lot that I just have trouble remembering. All Bullhorn, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. We see you, Spotifyers. You guys are killing it out there. We love it. Thank you so much. Leave us reviews. We appreciate it so much, so much. Definitely leave us reviews. Rate all of our shows on every one of those things that I listed and more. And we also have Stitcher Premium, a code Brotherhood you can use to get a month's free trial. So
fucking sick.
I think that covers everything.
I'm angsty, itching to get back into John.
Yeah, so we're into the good stuff, so we'll let you get back to it.
Sick.
Okay, as we slip into dreamy sleepy by time.
He dreamed of Genie. Direwolves.
Direwolves, not Genie. No Genie.
5 of them, where there should have been 6, scattered apart from each other. He feels an ache of emptiness, a sense of incompleteness. So now, we'll just fucking skirt here, because we got a lot to unpack here. Is this John, or is this Ghost? Or is he more advanced than Bran, and they become a hybrid fucking unit?
I think that there's something there where John is present. He's aware of these thoughts.
Absolutely.
Ghost is present. He's directing these thoughts currently, I think. And so I think he's referring, and I think this gives us a lot of information about the pups, because I think this is showing that they do have some kind of connection to sense each other regardless of distance.
Right, and the other thing is he does next go on to say his brothers were out there somewhere, and his sister, singular, but he had lost their sense, so that's indicating Lady has died.
Right.
And Ghost knows it
and somehow. He did also mention that one was missing.
And one is missing,
and so there was that emptiness of, and so I definitely think that this is Ghost referring to the actual pups.
It can very much so apply to John.
And
Arya being missing.
And that's what I wonder is if any time come, wins, if any of them are going to realize that kind of connection, being able to
feel each other,
the Bran and Summer to John and Ghost type deal, but
fucking their own little group chat.
No shit.
But he lifts up his head to the full moon and lets out a cry. He listens for an answer, hoping to hear anything, but hears only wind.
Yeah.
Again.
The god speaking.
Is it the god speaking here?
So he says the forest was large, and they were so small, so lost. I think here he's talking about him and John.
Yeah.
Those two right there. Them two in the woods, in the forest, they're small. I don't think he's referring to the pups anymore.
So you think this is Ghost's interior discussion? Okay, cool. Yeah. I like it. And then from behind him, he hears, John? Sharp. Yet a whisper.
Can a shout be silent?
The call came from behind him, and he turned his head, searching for his brother, and saw nothing but a gray glimpse.
And now here's the turn. This is where the turn is. That's John. John is searching for his brother. And I think that, again, Martin's just very coy with the way that
you think that's John?
I think that's Ghost. I think that's John saying it's Ghost turning. It is Ghost's body, but it's him turning and John turning, saying, I'm looking for my brother.
Right.
And so he's looking for his brother there.
There's nothing there, only a weirwood, seeming to sprout from solid rock, a sapling growing as he watched.
Yeah, smaller than most he's ever encountered. Now, I also, before we get too far, can I just say how fucking creepy it was when he was howling at the moon and all of a sudden there's just that silent shout of
right after he's talking about the great big forest.
Lost dark. Creepy shit.
Yeah, it's some crazy shit. He circles until he comes around to the face and sees red, fierce eyes that look at him, yet they are glad to see him. The weirwood had his brother's face. Had his brother always had 3 eyes?
Now, I'm going to read my notes here quick, because we've had some discussions. My notes say that, he circles and finds that it has Bran's face with a 3rd eye. And had he always had a 3rd eye?
Right.
Not always, came the silent shout. Not before the crow. Turn my page here. I might have more.
Turn the page.
No, so I have here that he sniffs at the bark, smells the rich earthy scents.
Yep, he smells wolf and tree and boy and other scents, warm earth and hard stone and something else. Something terrible. Death. He was smelling death. and he cringed back, baring his fangs. So at this point, in parentheses, I just put, the fuck?
The fuck, yeah. So based on your theory that you're going to be dropping here, I've come up with things, because that was my thought before, is Bran so tied to the Great Other that that's just surrounding his his stuff, or what is this?
Right.
What does that mean?
So it goes on, and the voice speaks again. Don't be afraid. I like it in the dark. No one can see you, but you can see them. But first, you have to open your eyes. See? Like this. The tree reached down and touched him. Okay, so.
Now he wakes up there.
Yeah,
like
he wakes up elsewhere.
Yeah.
We have a transition, but first, some discussion, because Archmaester Jude. What up, Archmaester Jude?
What's up? Thank you for writing in.
Had a great email about this dream and Bran's growth, and it is pretty well accepted throughout the community that this is Bran, and I'm ready to hit you with some craziness, some tinfoil, so get your fucking hats ready.
I don't know how tinfoil this is, because
I don't think that this is Bran in the tree. I think it is Rickon in the tree. And here is my reasoning why. I believe Rickon is developing green sight at the exact same rate as Bran, and may have been visited by a crow, because what is it that makes Bran so important that Rickon doesn't share with him? They have the same blood, this Stark blood running through their veins, and all that fun stuff. So we know Rickon foresaw Ned's death before it happened and was therefore in the crypts. We know Rickon likes it down in the crypts where it's dark. And Bran hasn't particularly shown an interest or
in any kind of darkness,
delight of being in the dark. And also the first you have to open your eyes, see like this, just seems too childish to me.
Yeah,
to
it's
be
very...
Bran is very trying to be a lord. He would explain it.
No, like this.
But Rickon is more innocent.
He fucking booped him on the head,
let me just show you and give you a quick boop, because that's going to be easier than my little...
Right.
And then the stinking like death and all that makes me think of Shaggy. And as well as the Great Other. And
so my thoughts on that were, depending on the timeline, because it could work a couple different locations and times at this point.
Right.
Maybe he's smelling where Rickon is.
Right.
And if he's been in the crypts when he's hiding in the dark.
Right.
And so maybe he's doing some green sight through the God's Wood.
Right, maybe Rickon is talking to him right now through it.
Right, while he's down there with Osha, all that. Or maybe it's that time when he was hiding down there himself after the dream, and
Well, like, the tree is growing out of stone.
Right.
He's smelling scents like warm earth and hard stone.
Right.
So, yeah, it could be very much so that Rickon is warging some shit through the trees right now, and it's just like, hey, what up, John?
You
should open your eye, dude.
You should check it. It's sweet. You should check it out. You can see in the dark.
You can do a ton of shit. You can like move through ghosts and shit.
You ever flown, dude? Have you ever flown?
Yeah. So I believe this is Rickon, pretty much down to my core.
Did you mention the fierce thing as well? His eyes, which I think is very important, because Rickon is very fierce.
Yeah. Bran's eyes are more solemn and almost Ned-like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I think that would reflect. I don't think
he has that wild look in his eye. He's always had that wild.
I just feel like it's very Martin to here's the easy answer, and the easy answer seems to be Bran, because that seems to be the direction Bran's heading in. But we've been given signs that Rickon's doing the exact same thing.
And this ain't the TV show.
And obviously, it's not the TV show. So
Lord of Skagos, Rickon.
So, and are we gonna get to Skagos and it's just a land of fucking werewoods?
Yeah, dude.
Rickon's just on a werewood
He's
throne,
just the
like,
new fucking three-eyed raven, just
chilling.
So
yeah, that's my big theory. Archmaester June. Obviously, we'll touch on your email at the end of the episode here, but hopefully, there's some points in there that pique your interest. But anyway, he suddenly, as the tree reaches out and touches him, he's suddenly back in the mountains.
Reach out and touch me.
Standing with his paws, so he's still in Ghost's body, sunk into some snow, standing on a precipice back in the Skirling Pass. And before him, awash in colors, is the valley of, awash in the colors of an autumn afternoon. So, the autumn afternoon tripped me up. Like, I know it is autumn currently. It's heading into winter technically, but is this the same? Is this now?
I thought it was now.
I know.
But is it like is this something that's happened before?
That's like I don't. The way
he's Golden Age?
Like explaining it awash in the autumn glow just made me feel like it's a different day. Like Jon is sleeping right now.
Right.
Like, and I know they went to
sleep they're waiting for
the
darkness.
sun was up, but like the mountains hide the sun. I don't understand how what he's looking at is where they're about to be, and it's a wash in autumn colors. I don't know. There's
I guess it depends on what side the sun's setting.
And so I just, again, with the dreams, I'm just wondering if is this now? Is this, maybe this was a different army, and yes, the information pertains to what they're doing.
It happens to line up, but once again, it's a Martin.
Like, what if Jon is seeing some of the first men? These are the first men or something, and not the wildlings that they think they're seeing. And so, again, speculation, of course, but he also sees a large waterfall that cascades down into a large great lake, and there are men in the valleys, a great host of them, thousands. But their camp had no plan to it, he sees, and realizes that this is a whole people come together.
Yeah.
And he also sees, although he describes it stupidly, a mammoth and a giant.
Yeah, it's a mound, and then all of a sudden it's a big guy on a big old trunked thing.
And then speaking of all of a sudden, he hears some fucking wings flutter and looks up and cut to black, because your motherfucking ass just got attacked by a hawk.
Now see, and that's what made me think it was current, was that he was standing there physically looking like the dream was the weirwood.
Right.
And then when he touched him, he came out of reality standing on that precipice. And was like, now you need to see, and you're warging fully.
Right.
And so it's actually you seeing through his eyes, and that's
where I saw
absolutely. But I mean, again, it could be whatever. Who knows?
Wargs are pretty prevalent in the north, so who's to say that one in the past couldn't be like, hey, what the fuck is that wolf doing up there? That wolf ain't from this time. But yeah, so Jon awakes as the wings come down, shutting out the sun on Ghost, and he cries out for Ghost, still feeling the talons and the burning pain, which
is similar to what Bran was doing as well.
He just got the tap in the forehead. He just woke up. Yeah, motherfucker. Jon is awoke.
Yeah, because we saw the same kind of stuff with Bran when Summer had fallen out of the tree and things like that.
Yeah, and so Eben immediately is like, dude, shut the fuck up. People are gonna hear you. And Jon's like, yeah, my bad.
My bad.
The dream was so vivid. And Qhorin's immediately like, yo, what did you just say about that river and that lake? That sounds interesting.
Because that's even not Dalbridge, Stone Snake. He's like, yo, that sounds like the Milkwater, which is real close to here. Like,
so Jon tells them of the wildlings and the mammoths and the giants.
But Qhorin tells him to tell, and he's feeling awkward at first. He's like, Well,
because Jon spews about the wildlings,
right.
And then Qhorin's like, yeah, tell me everything that you can remember. And Jon's like, well, it was only a dream, but Qhorin says it was a wolf dream. You may have seen what waits for us further on. And so Jon's like, all right, and he feels foolish talking of such dreams, but no one's fucking laughing.
Nobody.
And again, Archmaester June, I believe, pointed this out, that no one's laughing.
Yeah, it's not a joke. They're
taking this deadly fucking serious. It's this band is so fucking intelligent and
willing to accept. They see that Qhorin is interested for some reason, even if they don't understand. Like Dalbridge, he makes a little joke there.
My dreams are all about women.
And then even at the end, he wishes I could. But it's a joke, as in like, fuck, man, I wish my dream was real
it's
too.
Not like it's you're a pussy, Jon.
Or you're an idiot, dumbass, like pretending that.
And Qhorin taking it seriously. Yeah. We've been told anything Qhorin does is fucking amazing. So him believing it lends credence to it as well. So to that, Qhorin just says that cold winds are rising. Mormont had feared as much. Benjen Stark felt it as well. Dead men walk in the trees, have eyes again. Why should we balk at wargs and giants? Qhorin is a realist.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
I believe what I see, and you can't be denying
that there's some serious shit happening right now.
The north is fucking popping.
Yeah.
Off,
there's magic flying through the air.
And so Eben is like, yo, I'd like to see a giant. That'd be kind of sweet.
Dude, again, with these guys, I always say that I don't believe shit unless I see it. And so I thought at
Qhorin's
first,
like, yeah, you might enjoy it less than you think.
yeah. Well, at first I thought he was like, man, I don't believe things, and so no, there's no such thing as. And he was like, that'd be kind of cool. Let's go check this shit out.
Yeah. So Ghost still hadn't returned by the time they set off, and John is just fucking tripping out over his dream and over his wolf. And twilight fell, and there's still no sign. And yet John doesn't dare call out for him in case there's other
Right, you don't want to
patrols.
have anybody else alerted, just like when he was waking up from his dream screaming.
And it's this time that Squire Dalbridge points out an eagle that is perched far above them.
Far above them.
Evan immediately wants to loose an arrow, but it's too far, and he's like, I like his reasoning. He's like, I just don't like the way he's looking at me.
I don't like the way he's fucking looking. No, fuck that guy.
I feel you, Evan. That's me. But Qhorin's like, no, it's too far. We'll push on. And John is about to follow, but
he sees something. And so it's funny that now it seems more like that's a trap that the bird is. Like, yeah, I almost killed you, fucking wolf boy.
Yeah.
It's right there. Get him.
Yeah, he finds Ghost injured, but okay. And Squire Dalbridge, Qhorin immediately walks over and shows a ton of concern.
Yeah, he helps John start patching. Is he okay?
I love it. He helps him up, and immediately he's like, "Yo, get us some rags."
Everybody pitches into. We need to get Ghost is part of the squad, man. They're like, no, we need this motherfucker needs to be in tip top shape right now.
And it's Qhorin himself who washed the blood and the wound. John had to. He growled and bared his teeth, but John held him down, and He's fucking barrack. But and Qhorin washed the blood and the wound, and then they ripped some strips of John's cloak to make a bandage, and it's full dark by the time they're done. And this is when Qhorin says, "We're going back.
We're done." So can I point out real quick? And I know, of course, he's the worst person's name to use as an example here, but somebody like Alistair Thorne, he would have fucking killed Ghost.
Oh yeah,
he would have put a sword through his fucking head.
Yeah,
no, it's not a waste of time. Yeah. Like, Qhorin patched this motherfucker up himself. He was like...
Also, do you think that, because Qhorin just made the decision that they're turning back, do you think that decision is influenced by the fact that they found Ghost here? And he would be aware that this is the position Ghost was looking down on them from.
I think that's exactly what it is.
They're right down over
the fact that there was the eagle, and he was like, he was
John
attacked.
Is a warg, that obviously is a patrol of some sort, which Qhorin, I think, is known.
Of skin changers, 6 skins, shit like that.
Which, do you think that's why he brought John in the wolf? Do you think he had a knowledge and was like, yo?
Yeah, because I don't think it was. I don't think it was just the. Oh well, you're a Stark, and there's magic in the Stark's blood.
I mean, sure, that could be part
but
of
I think he has specifics.
Right.
I don't think it's just that broad of a statement.
Want to warg on their
exactly. So maybe he's aware of something like that.
And so he says, "We are seen now, and so now we run." And the others mount and turn toward home, and they ride all night. Qhorin allowed no firelight, and they reach the stone bridge. And descend down the summit, and it was an hour before dawn that they rested, not far from where the wildlings were when they captured Ygritte.
Yeah.
And Qhorin, I wrote the quote, just says, "From here, one man could hold 100, the right man." And he looked at Squire Dalbridge. Squire Dalbridge bowed his head and just says, "Leave me as many arrows as you can spare, brothers." And John is immediately like, "Yo."
He didn't, oh shit.
To die. Holy shit. And the last John saw of Squire Dalbridge was his back.
So he did say one more thing as well. Make sure my horse gets some apples when you get back. He's been a good beastie.
Definitely deserved it.
Dude, you're breaking my heart, Dalbridge. Fucking
Dalbridge is fucking pro, dude.
Shit.
And the last John saw of Squire Dalbridge was his back, climbing the path back up to the heights. And dawn broke, and John saw something in the blue sky. Evan cursed, but Qhorin tells them to listen. And John hears it. The sound of a hunting horn. The call echoing behind them through the mountain pass.
And then Qhorin just says, "And now they come." Man.
It's a very Mines of Moria.
Yeah, situation. Absolutely. Actually, I didn't even...
They are coming.
So, it's a very short chapter.
Mm-hmm.
But fuck, it's a good chapter.
I mean, it's just packed with the Three-Eyed Raven,
Mhm.
old powers growth.
Yeah,
of
warging.
John.
It's the first time not the first time we're seeing it, but like it's being
But,
addressed.
I mean, it's blatantly laid out that John is warging.
I mean, he
and,
specifically
he's
is
called
being
a skin
called
changer,
out by
It's
I like
it's funny that Bran's already gone through this,
right.
And John is.
I like how John's more accepting. He's a little older.
Right.
I mean, and maybe not necessarily more accepting yet, but he's not just blowing away the idea. He's like, these guys seem to think there's something to this.
Yeah.
I respect these guys. Okay. He had thought a lot about when he heard skin changers, when they called him that, similar to Bran, Old Nan's stories, and how they're terrifying creatures, vicious, and like, he's like, I'm not one of those. Like, I don't want to eat people.
Yeah, it's so good. It was such a good chapter. And then, Squire Dalbridge, R.I.P.
Yeah,
dude. Hold the pass.
Yeah, dude.
He's gonna hold the pass. So, you got an inductee?
I'm gonna give it to Squire Dalbridge. I can't, like, I wanted to give it to so many other people, but like, dude, like, he thinks of his horse, man. Like, and that's just fucking sick. He's a good guy, from what I know. I mean, what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Squire Dalbridge, come on down.
I'm gonna give mine to Rickon, because I am that certain.
I was going to give it to Rickon.
Of my my little theory there, that I really do, in my heart of hearts, believe that was him, and that Bran is a red herring for that.
Yeah.
Even and I didn't mention it, but I even looked into Dance and Melisandre's chapters, where she is actually looking into the flames and sees the Great Other and the Wolf Boy beside him, who throws back his head and howls, and there is no descriptor that confirms that as Bran. And so, if it is Rickon savagery who is helping the Great Other, exactly, a wolf boy, shaggy hair, Rickon, who's been with Skagosians.
So I'm just as on board with your theory as you are. Like, I almost made Rickon my inductee, but I figured it's your theory, so you should be allowed to do that.
Well, those are our inductees and our thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull up this one from our wonderfully favorite French fry in France, obviously, Julian. And as soon as I get the email open, I will let you know what he has to say.
Boy.
He says, "Hey guys, another John chapter. That's great. I so want to know what happens next. That's a good feeling. Qhorin is mighty impressive. His instincts and experience force respect, and that's why I'm inducting him into the Brotherhood. The unexpected turning back move rattled me, almost as much as the fact that he totally gave credit to the wolf dream of John."
Julian, did it rattle your shirt?
Fuck you, Zach. Fuck you, Zach. Have a good day, Valar Dreameris.
Valar Dreameris.
Which reminds me, Julian, your Valar Doharises and Dreamerises, they're catching on, man. They're catching on. I do believe June, Dr. Archmeister June, used it on Facebook.
Oh, on Facebook.
Yeah. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty neat. Anyway, thanks, Julian.
Thanks, Julian.
Archmaester June wrote us as well and said what a thrill this John chapter is. She says, cinematic is how I would describe it in a word. You see the North in HD, widescreen, panoramic detail. John's wargame dream sequence is utterly mind-boggling in its scope, so effectively opening John's eyes to the magic of the North, the Weirwood Network, Green Sight, and Bran's destiny. So Archmaester June, with all due respect, this is where we would disagree here. I love the imagery of Bran as a weirwood sapling growing and developing in his green sight powers before John's very eyes. Again, I love the idea that we see Bran developing, we don't see Rickon developing.
Right.
And it's so we get the good son.
Sure. Yeah.
The one who is going to use it right, and then we get the one savage who's going to help the Great Other. But again, this is June's email. I don't want to talk all over it, but she goes on talking about the mystery of the origin of Mance Rayder and how there are many hints at a secret identity, Rhaegar.
Yo, did we even bring that up?
We didn't talk about
that
theory. That is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
As far as tinfoily go, because I don't actually believe that to be true. But oh my God, if Mance Rayder revealed himself to be Rhaegar Targaryen,
yeah, it'd be pretty cool.
Up Rick, because I'm one of those Rhaegar people, and she says her inductee would be Bran, because he's rocking the weirwood net. That voice from the weirwood sapling made my spine tingle the first time I read it, and it still does every time I read that passage.
My spine tingled right now just hearing about her spine tingling from reading that line.
All the best, June. Thank you, June.
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful email.
You know, the whispered name of John, I actually thought he was coming out. I thought it was Qhorin being like, John, we gotta go. And then to realize it was still in the dream, it was
it was creepy.
I like that. I love that you inducted Bran and I inducted Rickon, two sides of.
And I inducted Squire Dalbridge.
And Qhorin as well.
And
Qhorin,
we got some
inductees, but two halves of that one theory there. And so those were our thoughts, feelings, opinions, as well as Archmaester June and Julian's, who we love and respect very much. Thank you guys for writing in.
Yeah.
Next episode, we're going to be reading Tyrion 12.
Now, also, I believe John only has one chapter left.
Right, John's next chapter is John's last.
Yeah, and then now we're on Tyrion 12.
Yep.
I think he has a couple more still.
Yeah, Tyrion's still got, I believe, 5 left.
Yeah, so we're good there. Yeah. After Tyrion is a Catelyn chapter, which it's been a while.
Yeah.
And is that her last?
I think this is
and
Catelyn's
I think that's Cat's
last.
Yep. Cool. And so get us your inductees for those chapters, and we will catch you on the next one.
Valor to Harris.
Peace.